My name is Sir Muscles, and this is me analyzing gameplay. This is a new series I'm doing called Analyzing Your Gameplay. I get videos of a ranked game from the Siege community and analyze your gameplay for you so that you can get better. If you want me to analyze a game for you, leave a link in the comments below and I'll try to get to it if I can.
Secure the bombs.
Why do it yourself?
I know.
Here's a memento.
If I said,
I'll play upper
Changing
cave.
mags!
Not sure if
be advised, a bomb location has been compromised.
Ready.
Set device.
Hack to drone direct. Too easy.
you got a drone.
Even though Mozzie's utility is to catch drones, his gadget is best used to deny drones from entering areas. You're wasting a lot of the prep phase searching for drones when you could be using your secondary shotgun to make rotations and set up wherever you'll be playing. You're also using your pests in sight, which isn't the best place to put them either. They're better suited for supporting your roam.
10 seconds left.
Adding machine on ping. Never mind, he's going to not that one.
5 seconds to insertion. Reloading. Stay clear of APS line of fire.
There's a drone on the side somewhere.
Op 4 has located a bomb. Get ready
Can you
to
place a
engage.
charger on ping?
I already put mine down, but is there like
Oh,
where-
damn, that's fine.
Test deployed.
Stay clear of APS line of fire.
They're coming cafe.
While I'm not opposed to anchoring with Mozzie, he could be much better utilized roaming. What comes to mind specifically is in bunk. You could easily sit in bunk and deny drones from several doorways or even potentially the break room windows. You could also make a rotation into daycare and make yourself extremely unpredictable for the attackers.
Op 4 has located a bomb. You know what to do.
I'm questioning your rotation here because you've put yourself in a much more vulnerable situation. Sitting behind that desk in cache, anybody can throw a frag at you since you have no ADSs, or they can throw flashes and rush you. Really, bathrooms are a good spot to be in. You can do a lot of work on the attackers. You can waste a lot of time, you can get picks, and you're really going to be a thorn in the attacker's side if you're in that bathroom. But inside cache like that, you really put yourself in a very tight situation where you can't move around much, and if the attackers are going to push you, it's going to be much easier for them to kill you.
You got hatch by daycare. Hatch on ping.
You dropped in? He's still in there.
I'm questioning this rotation here once again because you're really vulnerable from any angle that the attackers can come from. If they're going to push the waiting room doorway, they can see you down that hallway and you're just going to get shot in the back. If they push in through cache or through dragon, you're going to be entirely exposed to them, and it's going to be a pretty easy pick for them where they can take cover behind like the little half wall in cache or the little boxes in dragon. And although you can use those boxes in dragon yourself, you're still going to be exposed to both the window, control room doorway, and all of dragon, so peeking there isn't really a good spot to be. So no matter what you do here, you're not really in a good spot.
Yeah, if you could rotate around, Mozzie.
That's thermite.
He's stored on the ground.
I'm
Never mind, he's behind.
Oh, thermite's dead, those us.
Maya, if you want to quick peek it. No, never mind. He's behind the reinforcement. Hard range.
This is not a good time to throw a nitro, and is likely just going to be a waste because the attackers can easily just back away. They're going to hear you pull that nitro, and they're just going to walk back, wait a moment, wait for you to throw it, and then it's just going to do no damage to anybody. I mean, maybe if you're lucky you'll destroy a drone, but at the most, that's what would happen. And even possibly they could rush you, you know, hearing that nitro go off. If they have the intel that they're safe to rush you, they're in the perfect situation to do that. So definitely not a good time to throw a nitro. I would consider it a waste.
Yo, Ella, if you wanna go into the CCTV behind you.
One more down. Ash. Hibana's gonna be 20, Ash is 100. They're both at X.
Still in control, holding the run hallway. Second floor, stair hallway.
Bugs in control. Hey Mozzie, if you have a C4, you can go to Buck is gonna frag out.
So you're definitely moving around too much in this position. You're giving the attackers live sound cues about where you are exactly. So you're giving them a lot of intel that they otherwise shouldn't have and wouldn't have if you were just to sit still and only moved when you need to. You're also exposing yourself when you stand up, like how you're getting shot right now. And being too aggressive, you don't need to peek everything that you're peeking. And if you're gonna peek, you should pre-fire it, because if you peek, you're gonna have an extra like 200 to 400 milliseconds delay of your reaction time, depending on how good your reaction time is. And I've got a video on how to anchor, so I'll link that in the description. It's got a lot of solutions to like what your problems here are. It'll help you with knowing when to be aggressive, when to be passive. And a lot of your problems are related to just not anchoring well in this situation.
Buck's pushing his initiation.
Op 4 last stop standing.
initiation.
Control.
Ash.
I'm reloading.
They never got default. Ash on ping. Ash on ping. She's rushing cash.
Echoed.
Yeah, Ash is in. Never mind, she's back out.
No.
15 seconds left.
I think 10 health.
10 seconds to go. 5
Ash
seconds
is
left.
cash door.
Behind you.
Rushing cash.
Echoed.
You want it?
Zone, you will be
Echo.
detected by hostiles.
So here I probably would have retreated down the hallway and anchored in office, maybe sitting behind like the office desk or in vault waiting for Ash to push through bathroom or the hallway. You could also have gone into initiation, you know, after going back down the hallway. But I wouldn't really suggest running out. I mean, it's totally fine because with how little time there's left, Ash couldn't really do much, but it's better to be safe than, you know, have Ash take you out and then rush in and get the echo on 000. Because if you, in any other situation, like the Ash could be watching that window, she might be pushing through that window trying to get you. And if she catches you, you know, mid-sprint, that's going to be an easy kill for her. And she could have had extra time to, you know, go and find that last player and take him out. Although overall, you're still in a good situation here. And that run out could have gone well and worked perfectly.
You've reached the time limit.
Stuff.
It's protected. Op 4 has located a bomb. Plan your defenses accordingly.
Should I put an echo in Karag?
10 seconds left.
They didn't play high Q, so I'd say yeah.
5 seconds.
So I don't know what you were doing the entire prep phase. You were just running around and leaning. But it was up until this point that you placed your first gadget besides your reinforcements. And doing this, you've wasted a significant amount of time doing nothing, and you've still got all 3 ADSs to put down, plus your barbed wire.
Stay clear of ADS line of fire.
bomb located by Op 4.
Back to drone just in case they get one of them.
Yeah, it's pretty high up, so I don't think they'll...
ADS up and running.
Yeah, I'm just gonna chill in this corner. Oh, shoot.
You can stop worrying about grenades now.
So you still wasted some time there trying to decide where to put your last ADS, but now it's almost 30 seconds into the round and you've decided that you're going to roam. So just in the future, you should probably try and figure out what you're going to do before the round starts, you know, where you want to place your gadgets and shit, because you've wasted far too much time. Only anchors should, you know, be setting up that late into the round, like if you're a smoke trying to get that extra distraction down. But if you're gonna go roam, you can't be wasting time. You have to be really quick with your setup.
I think they're droning near Dragon. Yeah, they're droning Dragon. Downstairs, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know what they actually are.
So
It looks like you're trying to roam for picks, and that's not really how you should be roaming, because I see that you've got into this position here, and it's really tight, right? You don't have anywhere to get away to if you're getting pushed. So if the attackers do drone you out, they're going to be able to take you out easily. And you're not really in a good position to be doing anything. As a roamer, you want to be wasting time, and here you can't really waste time, because the attackers can easily ignore you. They can wait for you to come out of where you are and just shoot you. They don't have to push you at all. There's no reason for them to push you. So you've not really put yourself into a good position to waste time as a roamer should, but it rather looks like you're waiting for someone to, you know, come around, or waiting for someone to, you know, get nearby so you can rotate out of there and get picks.
frag is by the east side.
Yeah.
Reload, cover me.
My artillery is on.
Where's... No, yeah, like where's on the...
Everyone's inside.
You shouldn't have peeked that the second time, because the sledge knew exactly where you were, and you were pretty low on health, so you were very much in a bad situation. I would have recommended retreating, or at least peeking on the other side, and definitely pre-firing it, because you knew exactly where the sledge was. I mean, if you were confident enough, peeking it again wouldn't be bad if you had pre-fired it, but ultimately you should have retreated, and that goes back to why I don't think that position was a good spot to be, because there wasn't really a good way to retreat. If you went into that hallway, you would be extremely exposed, and you probably would have died anyways if you did try to retreat.
Oh, and Dragon right now.
Get a bomb.
They're thrown.
Okay, so you found the site, but you're bringing your drone into the building. Now, generally you don't want to do that. You want to save your drone. It's best to just leave it outside, unless you have a predetermined spot that you can set it up. That will be safe. But the risk is not worth the reward, because the risk is losing a drone, which is extremely valuable, and the reward is nothing. You don't get any reward. You maybe get intel on where someone is during the prep phase, but other than that, you get nothing.
Got you.
Okay.
So far, no one's dragon side.
10 seconds to insertion. 5 seconds to insertion.
They have a bandit.
A bomb must be located and defused.
It's all good. They have a bandit.
You're doing really sloppy drone work here. You're missing all the nooks and crannies, and you didn't even check break room at all. In fact, you should also check down arcade stairs, because there very well could be someone sitting there. But this is where the defenders are going to be hiding, you know, in those nooks that you won't be looking, like the lazy droners won't be looking. They're waiting for you to miss them. And if you miss them, you're going to get killed once you go in, assuming it's safe. So you really should spend more time droning out thoroughly, because you do have that time.
Downstairs. Bye. In the door. It's up to you. I'm gonna try.
I'm a fucking idiot. God, I fat fingered that grenade.
Oh, they have bandits going up driving stairs right now.
So you've just kind of run down the yellow stairs without droning out any of the surrounding areas, like the hallway, or drug lab, or lockers, or gong, or wherever. Yeah, you're kind of just face checking it, which isn't as bad considering you're with your entire team, but easily if there was a roamer there, they could have taken out one or two of you, and if that thermite had died, that would have been really bad, and you guys would probably lose a round having to just go into throne without any hard breach.
Bomb has been
They have
located.
a Jaeger.
Watch out for cap cans.
They have a Jaeger and a cap can.
Bomb.
It's good that you're droning out site. A lot of people really just, they drone out around site, but a lot of people don't drone inside site. It's a bad habit a lot of people have. But you're not really making the call out. You should be making the call out in game chat, because your teammates need to know where, you know, that cap can is, or where whoever else is. So you shouldn't have run in there, because you're extremely exposed to anybody who could have been to the left of the armory wall, behind the armory wall, like the wall in the middle of armory, or anybody in the back of throne, anybody at blue, which Capcan was and could have very easily killed you, or anyone in that corner who was simply watching it. You know, you ran in there, they had the advantage because you weren't ADS, you know, immediately. I would suggest only going in there if you know that blue is clear, armory is clear besides that one corner, and you're on the other side of the wall. Because from there you won't be exposed to throne, and you can easily just pre-fire the person who would be sitting in that corner.
No. He's lit. I missed my shots.
You have dropped the diffuser. It's been recovered.
Dig it in.
You or somebody else should have been holding the flank from yellow stairs. It should be expected that someone would go through that waiting room doorway and try to flank you guys. You could have also brought Nomad, which is a great operator to bring on this map. But yeah, if no one else is watching the flank, then you should volunteer for it, because too many people die from flanks that they shouldn't have, or at least, you know, could have been notified of earlier. The bandit really shouldn't have been able to flank you so easily.
Recover the diffuser. Bomb.
They're not thrown, so they're definitely second
Yeah.
floor. They have a dock or a rook.
10 seconds to insertion.
Once again, bringing in your drone inside when you don't need to, and here you see you lost your drone when you really just gained nothing from it. You should only be droning things out when you can act on the intel you get from that drone. And this is not a situation where you can act on the intel.
Yep.
5 seconds before insertion. You must locate and defuse a bomb.
It's good that you're checking for spawn peaks, but you didn't really need to spend as much time as you did. If no one's running out, they would have run out much earlier, and you wasted like 30 seconds achieving nothing.
Everything was clear. No one's roaming dragon side.
They have captain. They have vigil. Cafe is clear.
The control wall is saw. Well, he says not in here.
Everything should be clear.
One's up.
So you heard the rook in initiation and you decided to drop down. You shouldn't drop down here unless you're sure initiation is clear and you're good, because this is a very vulnerable spot to be in. Your whole body's exposed and rook's gonna hear you plop down there. You could have moved through the window, like in the balcony, or through cache doorway. There's really better places you could have pushed through for this.
And then there's one initiation.
The diffuser is no longer in your possession.
One pushing dragon. Vigil.
Good job with taking out the dock there, but I'd suggest doing some more pre-firing. That could have saved you some damage or even gotten you a kill when you were shooting at the dock. But the big problem here is that you saw your teammate right behind you get killed and you simply ignored it. Now I would have held an angle on that doorway for a bit and waited for Vigil to come in there, because Vigil could have come in any time and you would have just been dead. I'm not entirely certain why you just ignored it, but next time, don't ignore when your teammate dies right behind you.
The diffuser has been recovered.
One on ping is the thing. Oh yeah. Rook. You know, I just went to up yellow.
Look at that wall.
Yeah, yeah.
Whoa, Rook is tagged. Not that.
Like,
There's
you
a
just
bigger
keep
dragon.
distracting them.
Oh shoot, am I peeking? Top arcade.
Bomb has been located.
You got flashes. You got flashes, by the way.
Oh, one bathroom.
This is a tough situation no matter what you do, but I would have suggested telling Thermite to open the office wall. Pushing from office is much better. It's far less exposed once you get in there. Entering the bunk wall, you have to worry about the the little wall in bunk. You have to worry about break room, and the walls in break room. There could be holes there. You got to worry about the rotation. You've got to worry about the doorways. The two doorways that lead into bunk. So there's just so much you have to watch when you're entering that room. It's really not a good place to push from. If you're pushing through office or onto like the yellow stairs balcony, all you have to do is watch down that arcade hallway. You can drone out if someone's in cafe. You can really drone out to see where everybody is. And you can, all you have to do is worry about the bunk doorway and the daycare doorway, which it's much easier to check one at a time. And also, speaking of droning, you should have droned out sight, because you would have known that the Wamai is in there. You could have pre-fired him, maybe have gotten him.
Only last operator standing.
I like that you're using Nomad here, because she's really good on this map, and it looks like you've learned from the previous rounds that anti-flank is really needed. And she's going to help a lot with, you getting killed by the bandit 2 rounds ago, your teammate getting killed, and, Thermite getting killed at the end of the round of last round, which wasn't shown, but that's what happened with Vigil flanking him.
Dude, I don't want them to take away Buck's frag grenades.
We need to locate a bomb.
They're not. Yeah.
10 seconds.
Want to just do a yellow stairs
Your
push
drone has
or
found a bomb.
Captain just got the office push
5
or office
seconds.
wall? Ready.
Proceed to bomb's location and defuse it.
Never Capcan.
Yeah.
They have a maestro.
Drone activated.
Yeah, good shit.
Do you have breaches or flashbangs?
One's peeking it. Amaya's in this height. He's in B. He's peeking the
You
door.
have dropped the
B.
diffuser.
Deploying drone.
You really should not have dropped that hatch. You knew that there was likely to be a person initiation, and dropping that hatch, you're extremely vulnerable. Of course, there would be someone watching it. You really just threw away your life there. You could have gone through, the dragon window or the cache doorway as described earlier. How I said you shouldn't drop that hatch. And once you get into control room, it's not super strong of a position. Pushing through cache would have been much better, especially if you had the thermite open the office wall. Anyways, after this round, they did proceed to win the game, fortunately. So that's all I have for this video. If you learned something, give it a like. And if you have any advice for this ManBearPig, leave some detailed advice in the comments below. I'm sure he'll appreciate it a lot. Toodles!